Welcome to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Wednesday, March 30th at 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to attend a grand opening for a new Sherwin-Williams on Elmora and Westfield Avenue. And a ribbon cutting, you're welcome to join us. On Thursday, March 31st at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'll attend and present a commendation to the Jefferson Park preschool program. They will have an open house celebrating 40 years of providing high-quality child and family services to residents of our city. It's located at 455 Madison Avenue. Immediately following that event, I will also attend Jefferson Park Ministries' second annual Volunteer Recognition Awards Dinner. And this is our silent heroes, the AmeriCorps members, foster grandparents, and other volunteers. This year's keynote speaker is Patrick Covington, who is a CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the Corporation for National and Community Service. And on Saturday, April 2nd at 9 o'clock in the morning, this Saturday, the Elmora Youth League will open up their baseball season, beginning with the parade at 9 o'clock in the morning, starting behind school number 12 on Baker Place, proceeding through Springfield Avenue, over Westfield Avenue to the Thomas Hanratty Little League Field, located on Westfield Avenue. A brief ceremony will be held, and the first game will begin for the 2011 Elmora Little League season. That evening, the Elizabeth Portuguese Day Committee pageant. The winners will represent the community during the Portugal Day Parade. They will pick the king and the queen and the princess, and this event will have the traditional regional attire. Formal evening wear will be held at the Portuguese Instructive Social Club on Route 1. And from April 1st to April 25th, there will be a collection boxes in all of our firehouses throughout the city to collect canned goods, rice, potatoes, soups, gravies, and other nourishing food to help replenish the food pantry of the Elizabeth, New Jersey Greater Area Salvation Army. Feel free to bring your donation to the firehouse at 411 Irvington Avenue or your nearest firehouse in your community. For more information, please call our Firehouse Credit Union at 351-7770. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And for this week's show, I'm pleased to present students from Benedictine Academy, a high school in our city. I had the good fortune of meeting with these young ladies about 2 weeks ago to talk about their efforts in human trafficking, bullying, and child slave labor. A video that they're working with. They're also meeting with the superintendent of schools in a couple of weeks to talk about how they can make their presentation to school children throughout our city. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
So why don't we go around, introduce ourselves first, and tell me what year you're in, and we'll start with you.
My name is Chelsea Odufu, and I'm a senior.
My name is Chizumi Mina, and I'm a senior.
My name is Caroline Antonio, and I'm a junior.
My name is Ariana Taveras, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Shayla Cardozo, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Geraldine Arroyo, and I'm a senior.
And now I know two of your other classmates are going to join me for the second segment. But first we'll start with this segment. And, you know, bullying is something that when you and I talked in your classroom, in the library actually a couple of weeks ago, it happens at all grades. So who wants to start with, you know, exactly define bullying maybe at your level and then also at the 4th and 5th grade level or a younger level?
I'll start.
You'll start.
So bullying is something that happens, you know, to everyone, every age, whether you're 5 years old or 50. It can happen to you, and a lot of it that we see happens especially in middle school, and it starts when you're young. So, I mean, bullying can be emotional, it can be physical. A lot of the times with girls, you see that it's emotional. A lot of the times with boys, you can see it's physical. And it's just something that we'd like to call attention to because there have been so many incidents happening recently that you see in the news, and, you know, that we've even noticed more, being aware about that. And we feel that it's really important, especially for the younger kids, you know, to nip it in the bud, to get it while it's starting.
So Ariana talks about defining bullying. How common is bullying in the schools?
Bullying is very common, and it happens all the time. It can happen discreetly or openly, and it's up to the student or whoever is being bullied to go up to someone. But at times that could be very hard because they're scared or embarrassed to tell others that they're being bullied.
Now, if you're too young to have children, but maybe you have baby brothers or sisters or younger brothers or sisters, or maybe you just know of other young people, what would you tell young people to look for? What would you tell young people? How would they respond to bullying? How would you tell a young person? Who wants to take that question?
I'll take it.
You'll take it.
Well, I would tell a little girl, a little boy to tell their teacher or talk to their parents about it because they don't want to like address the problem and something else happens. So by telling their teacher, an adult, that might help resolve their problem.
And you think that's the answer? I mean, does it happen in high school level?
Oh,
Yes.
How does it happen in a high school level?
I mean, going to an all-girls school, you know, some bullying sometimes occurs. As Ariana said, it's sometimes emotional. Girls pick on each other, especially if they're not friends anymore. They try to, you know, get that other person to feel bad. In a public high school, I'm not too sure of, but I know it happens there frequently, especially with what my friends say about it as well.
Why won't children tell if they feel they're being bullied? Why would they keep quiet?
I feel that they're really scared of what their peers will think about them. Like, oh, I'll be a tattletale, and they don't want to be seen in that light, so that might prevent them from speaking out to adults.
Even in a young age.
Yeah, it's a really big factor.
And what would you think about bullying causing problems in later years? How would you deal with that? You think if they bullied at a young age that it carries through?
Yeah, it affects them. They have this weight on their shoulders knowing that people are calling them names or physically hurting them. And it carries on through life, and you're always thinking about it as you grow older.
And bullying is something that really takes place at any age.
Any age.
And have any of you been experienced bullying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that happened. Was it a friend or somebody who claimed to be a friend? Somebody told me a great story when I was there. I don't remember about a personal experience. You know.
Well, I remember when I was in middle school, you know, you have people that you think are your friends, and a lot of the time, especially when you're younger, you just want to be accepted. You just want to be part of groups. You don't want to feel alone. And a lot of the time, you know, you don't really talk to your mom or you don't talk to your dad because, you know, oh, they're older and you don't feel like they'll get you. And maybe, you know, your peers will get you. But a lot of the time, you know, if they say sly things and they're kind of mean, you just let it go. It's bullying. So, you know, it's hard for kids to speak up about it, and I know I went through that in middle school. There were people who I thought were my friends just out of desperation for wanting friends. And, you know, you have to pay attention to that. I think kids need to learn how to, you know, pick out the little things. It's not just a comment. It's something that hurt you, and you can't just blow it off. You know, a lot of the time, we need someone to talk to.
Does it only take place at the schools?
Oh, no. It can take place anywhere. I mean, if you're at the mall and you know, you're trying something on and the saleswoman tells you, oh, you know, that it doesn't look very nice on you, and she can be being honest, but, you know, sometimes...
My wife tells me that all the time. Oh, no, that doesn't look good on you. No, I'm only kidding, but it could be very traumatic for a young lady.
Yeah.
So it can even happen in a dressing room in a shop when you're at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's human trafficking is another issue that you spoke about with us as well when we met. And what exactly is human trafficking from your point of view? You want to start this one?
Human trafficking is the forceful exploitation of others through harboring, transporting, and recruiting.
And it's usually done mostly with women. Would you agree that mostly women are the ones that are trafficked? Or
Both women and children.
Yes. And men.
Anyone
Yeah.
is.
Anyone is, but
Yes.
is it more prevalent with women and children?
Yes.
Yes.
About 80% women.
About 80% women and children.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think it also leads to other issues like prostitution and other things,
Oh,
or
definitely.
is it just slave labor type of thing?
Well,
What's
there's a distinction between both. There's also prostitution, and there's also sex trafficking. I mean, sex trafficking
Right.
as well. So there's a lot of variations to human trafficking.
And why don't the victims just run away? Why don't they just pack up and leave if they were?
Because they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to get hurt. They have no one. They're taken away from their security. And when they're taken away, they have no one else to depend on.
They have no money. They don't know. Sometimes they're taken like out of the country, so you don't know your way around. And they have no other way. They don't know how to get help.
I mean, just to
Go
add
ahead.
on that, like, a lot of the traffickers instill so much fear in the victims that they're going to kill their family or kill their loved ones, that they don't want to leave because they fear that their loved ones will get hurt.
And how widespread do you think human trafficking is?
All over the world, everyone is affected by it.
So you think that some countries not only bring in human trafficking, but they also export it as well. And so every country, every community is usually affected by that. And what do you think, what kind of effect does it have on its victims? And why did you pick this issue? I mean, clearly it has to do with bullying, but human trafficking is usually geared towards, would you say older people? How many children do you think are involved? Like teenage girls are involved?
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, human trafficking affects people emotionally and physically. Like, they're getting beat all the time, and that emotional thing that they're getting used, like especially people that are, the girls that are in sex trafficking, they're basically being used over and over again, and that affects them emotionally because they're like an object, and they feel like they have no value and have no reason sometimes for living because of their situation.
Now, what made you ladies get involved in these issues? I mean, was there a catalyst? Is this a club that you started, or how did you get involved in all of these issues?
Well, for me, it started freshman year with my religion teacher, Miss Mikowski, and it started through the Oprah Ambassadors Club. That's how we started, from the Me to We Foundation, and from there we started picking up on topics such as human trafficking, and that's something that we personally felt affected us all, because human trafficking can happen to me or to any one of my friends, God forbid, and it's something that continues over and over. So since that time, since freshman year, we've been taking a stand to trying to stop human trafficking.
Now, what is the most common form of human trafficking? Is there a more common than another? Or?
Well, there's a lot of sex trafficking, but there are a lot of different branches. Like recently there was a bust at a hair salon, and not a lot of people are aware of that. And
the bust at the hair salon did what? The people working there, in other words? So it wasn't prostitution, it was just they were working there for a very low price.
Yes.
And they didn't have any papers, and
they were forced to work.
They were forced to work there, probably doing the worst jobs, correct?
Yes.
Who are the victims of human trafficking? I mean, sometimes people can't put a face on it, and so therefore it doesn't exist. How would you put a face on human trafficking? I mean, obviously you ladies are doing a great job of it.
It could be us. I mean, girls younger than us, our age, older than us, it's just, I mean, look at me. You know, I could be one of those victims and no one would know it. So it's just, you have to know that everyone's a possibility. So if somebody asks you for help, you know, you have to act. A lot of the time, people don't act because they think it's a joke, a phase, that they can get out of it themselves, and they can't. So when people reach out, you know, it's up to us, people like us, to lend a hand, to make other people aware, to go to the police. I mean, I remember we wrote some letters because during the Olympics, there's a lot of human trafficking that goes on. And we wrote letters, you know, to please beef up security where the games are taking place, because people don't know.
How would you identify it? How would you tell people to identify it? What would you do besides this lecture? I mean, how would you counsel somebody?
I believe that you should go to authorities, find out where you can go to speak to people about if you see something happening, if you see human trafficking going on, go to the cops, tell them about it, because you making a step makes a big difference.
And I think that was an important thing, and I think we're going to break on that point when she said a step makes a big difference. And I think the step that you ladies have taken at Benedictine Academy and the effort that you're putting forth to try to explain this to younger folks is absolutely terrific, and I wish you lots of luck in whatever way I can help. I will.
Thank you.
If you could stay with us after these messages, I'll be back with more students from Benedictine Academy talking about bullying and human trafficking. Please stay with us after these messages.